Good evening, guys. Hey, we're start. Sorry, guys, I got caught up. I had to go get some groceries and go get dinner. Um, so that whatever I do tomorrow, whether it's stay here or go over to my cousin's, I had to pick up some things for tomorrow. Um, so I'm actually going to turn this over to Richard tonight and let him talk to you about his trips. I am going to, I have not had
You have
dinner yet,
bad
so
echo.
I'm going to, you'll hear my voice, but you will not see me for a little bit while I hide and eat because I got to eat before I get sick here. Um, Mike, good evening. Hey, Richard, you're going to love this. You are
Yeah.
going to love this. Oh, no, you're not. Hold on. I got to switch to one thing here. No, if you buy it using your credit card. I'm switching to this because you got to see this sign. There's some things I downloaded this afternoon.
Oh, okay. I do not agree with that on some days.
Look who came in. You'll see why. You'll see why I did it.
Yeah. We knew Mike was going to come in. He likes vacationing and he's always interested in some kind of cruise sometime anyway.
Yeah. So, anyways, welcome in. So let me welcome in who we got. Obviously, welcome Richard, my partner channel. Welcome. He's here. He's going to talk to you guys about his past cruise. How many of you have done one, or you did two in the last 2 months, right? Or just one? Two. So he's got a couple of them to you talk to. Hello, yeah. Debbie Bernfeld. Welcome in. Jason Thibodeau, Jonathan Chong, of course, Mike Klemovich. All right. With that, guys. Oh, Dave Stragan. Good to see you, buddy. Hello. Again, sorry, guys. I had to run to town. I had to get groceries. And unfortunately, some things came up that I had to deal with while I was in town. And unfortunately, it took me a little bit longer to get back than I was planning on it. Plus, then I got groceries sitting on the table I have to put away with after the show's over. So my night ain't even over yet. But so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Richard while I eat. I will take some questions because I will be eating, listening to them. Okay. But after that, you don't have. You'll hear me, but won't see me.
Just don't munch too loud over there, Dave.
You cannot beat McDonald's fries. Just
oh gosh. Yes, you can, Dave. It's called going to Five Guys. No comment.
No, had food in my mouth.
Nice.
To a point. There are some perishables. Unfortunately, yes, there are some perishables I should be putting away right now. So actually, I'm probably going to do this.
Okay. Let me chat now. Okay. I was just making sure I had set that up. It took me a little bit to do that. Anyway, yes, I went on to 2 wonderful cruises. One was a 5-night, 4-night. Yeah, it might have been a 4-night Disney down, and we got to go to the new Lighthouse Point. Oh, I loved it there. And then I got to go to the Castaway Cay. It was supposed to go there, but it skipped it because of bad weather. It was right around hurricane era. And then also we went down to, if I remember correctly, it was Jamaica. So didn't go off the port at that port. But I did on the private island we did go to. It was fun. It was only 4 to 5 nights long, but it was with a YouTube community, the group that decided to try to book a lot of people into one ship and try to do like a YouTube recognition, like a meet and greets and things like that were aside from what Disney supplies. which was really fun. We did a lot of like karaoke on a few nights. I have some videos of that, but I have not got permission, or I won't get permission to show those videos because it is from the YouTube community, and so we don't really want to show those unless they are here with us. So I might reach out to some people and send them your way, Dave. We'll see. But on to the next deal. That was a fun trip. So with that present, this was a Halloween on the high seas, or late October-ish era. I believe on Halloween, I was not in the country. I was out a waters because of this cruise. Share screen, and then I just do this if I learned correctly. And does this show that? Yes. So I got to dance around with Goofy. He was being goofy like he usually does. Yeah.
Did you have to dance with? Did you have to dance with Mike?
I wish Mike was there. He would have had a great time with Goofy. Goofy was really eccentric on this trip, it seemed like, and he just was like dancing with everyone, and it was like the funnest time of all, you know? Yes, he's not wearing his Halloween costume, but still, it is still fun to see him, you know? Yeah, I did a nice, oop, there we go. Then we have Donald in his Halloween costume. That was really cool. He's dressed as a spider, if anyone was wondering. Then we have Captain Hook in his regular costume. I don't think I've seen him in his Halloween costume, so he's this regular Captain Hook. That was cool. I'm sitting in one of those ports. This has to be on the day that we decided to stay in port. So that has to be Jamaica, by the way, because that was the only stop that was not one that we went on to. On the yep. Got to see some nighttime photos. That is kind of creepy, but you know what? I love the lighted feature of that ship for the Disney ship. Yes, that is my face right below it, trying to do a selfie at dark. Okay. Then I can just do this. Backity back, and then I can do this. Oop. Some of these are not supposed to be here. And then we have one of the first wonderful ports that we got to go to on the Princess. Princess was, it was okay to a point. They did not keep it as clean as Disney keeps their ships. It seems like there was a lot of things that was, for example, one of the elevators, it was shut. 3 elevators were shut down for the whole trip. They were not working at all, and they said that they don't know when they're going to get it to work, kind of thing. They had one of the big restaurants did not open the whole time that we were on the ship, and this is, by the way, a full ship. There was no spots open.
This with Princess?
This is Princess, yes.
Really? Okay. I thought I heard.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I heard you right.
This is Princess. No. Let me think. Princess Enchanted. Yes. Princess Cruise Line. Is that right? Yes. Let me think. Oh, boy. It'll only take a few seconds because I have the app right here. Yes. Princess Enchanted was the ship I went on to.
You brought up a good point, Richard. Was it one of the older ships?
Old.
I don't know the whole fleet because I'm still doing.
This one is old. It was built and ran out around 2002 at the latest.
Okay, so that ship is about 20 years old or better.
It's 20 years old-ish. They haven't really done any updates on it. They just try to keep maintaining it kind of thing.
Which means they're probably getting ready to retire it. So I was
Hopefully.
going to say, because I would say for Princess cruise ships, they're usually pretty good ships.
Yes, they can be.
But the older ships, I can tell you the older ships can be a little bit more, and this is within any of the fleets. The older ships tend to get.
It was not refitted yet. It has not been refitted since it first came out. This one has not, which is kind of interesting for 20 years.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, they just keep trying to update it. They probably put on like a new Broadway show onto it or here and there, but not really refitting. Yes, and this one they're trying to refurbish, but they're doing it at the same time as you're cruising.
Well,
so
they may be trying to make it last as long.
Yeah,
but it might be, with it being that old of age, some of those ships they start taking off of their ledgers. So it could be that maybe this is one of the ships they're getting ready to take off their registry.
Yeah, when I went into it, it was went from New York all the way down to Fort Lauderdale. That's because it was changing itinerary to have smaller cruise ports. So it was only going to be doing like 3 to 4 nights after we got done with this, 3 to 4 night cruises, and there was a few weeks in between. It seemed like I think they're going to try to do maintenance on it while it's waiting for the next one. Kind of put it in for a little bit.
And it could be that they're getting ready to refurbish it too.
Maybe they might be trying to attempt to try to do that. It was pretty fun. I liked the ports, the itinerary that they basically supplied for us, but the ship itself, you could see its age, and it was starting to rust on the outside. It looked like of the ship itself, and
That's not a good sign.
It was just downtrodden. It needed a little bit of a facelift. Put it that way.
It needs a little TLC.
Jill, there's no doubt about it, Jill. Disney Cruise Line, DCL. Why is it my favorite? Customer service. The customer service from Disney on the Disney Cruise Line ships is par to none. There is no company that can really compete against them for the customer service. That's because they try to keep it simple and they don't try to do like new technology or anything like that. They keep it what they know it works. That's what they go with, and to keep everything up to date and clean, and everything's shiny and new, basically what it looks like. So Disney Cruise Line would be my favorite. I've done 12. Yes, I've done 12 cruises with Disney Cruise Line, by the way. So I am a platinum. Yeah, what they call that. Yeah, second highest that you can get. Okay, this one. Whoop, wrong way. Okay, so this is PR. So that would be Puerto Rico. So that would be, if I remember correctly, and I can look at it on my other cell phone. Yes, they are. I just, you know what? I keep going to it. So you know what? I'll go with what I love. So yeah. Okay, photos. Let me look at this. All photos, New York. So this is San Juan, Puerto Rico, that we got to go to. This is for the Disney Princess that I'm hopping straight into and just getting you through these. Now, this is for anyone that wants to try to think about seeing an itinerary that goes to these cities. A lot of them would have almost the same kind of look to them. Yeah. Oceania with the smaller ships. Yeah. And then there's also a few that are from Europe that are as high as Disney, but it's hard to find them. Royal Caribbean can be for some of their ships. Mostly. Well, most of the ships, really. They're pretty high up, I would say. That's the next one we're thinking about going into. San Juan, Puerto Rico has alleyways that people just start walking through sometimes. They have beautiful houses. I love just about every port we went into with this Eastern Caribbean cruise. It had wonderful, brightly colored houses streaming the roadways. I just love taking pictures of that because that's a kind of iconic for Eastern Caribbean. Brightly colored houses everywhere. This is the San Juan National Historic Site. That would be what is right next to it, which is the castle that they have at the corner of San Juan, Puerto Rico. You have to pass by it to get into the port. Really, really cool medium-sized castle that was used as a deterrent for it was for at one time pirates when they were in the Caribbean. Yes, pirates were in the Caribbean. Yeah. Yes, Jill, the fort, that's the castle, basically. They use it as a bombardment, and it hasn't been taken over ever from San Juan. It never got took over from any of them. Another cool thing they have all around San Juan, Puerto Rico, cats. They don't really keep cats in their house at all in San Juan, Puerto Rico. If they have a cat, most of them don't have collars. They're wild. They are all throughout the whole city, but they keep down the not necessarily birds, but keep down the rat population if there was going to be any or anything that they eat. I've seen some people sitting on the side of the road when, even though they're not supposed to, they do feed them at times. They keep them around. It seems like, well, can't really go anywhere, but it is cool to see when I was walking down one of the roads, something like that. You were just seeing like 20 or 30 cats or so odd amount of cats just crossing the street. They're all over. They've taken a lot over the city itself. So they probably but this San Juan, Puerto Rico does have when you go on the main path, you would go on it's right against the water, and there is a very beautiful wall with some of them having bombardments or what they would shoot arrows out of for the pirates that would come during the century that they needed that for this, and that it's still standing to this day. The wall, all structure of the wall is still there. There's nothing.
And here's the thing about it. Remember this: at the time and age that this stuff was made, it was made out of what was called coquina shells.
Yes.
Back then, it was mixture with some stuff that made like paste type, and I'm not sure what the whole ingredients is.
Like putty.
What made those forts so? What's unique about those forts? Because think about it, St. Augustine Fort was never taken in battle. Never.
Nope. Never did.
But
it did get attacked.
It's been bombarded.
It's been bombarded and did get attacked.
Part of the coquina shells, it was almost practically impenetrable.
Yes. They do have a little bit of history on one of the walls. There is a big, huge, I'm talking like huge, like shell of a cannon that got lodged into the wall because it got fired from a pirate ship that was run by Blackbeard himself. So back in the day when Blackbeard was alive, he attacked San Juan, Puerto Rico at one time.
Isn't that weird on how that happens? Because if you think about it, because that happened to one of the walls in St. Augustine in a building. There's a building that if you look up at the side of the wall, the cannonball is still there.
Yep. It's on the side of the wall. It is still there. What they did was it attacked the wall. It got lodged into the wall, but then they put spackle and stuff after the attack over it and made it implanted into the wall, so it will not ever come out.
Okay, now, St. Augustine didn't do that. They just left it there.
How the heck does that happen?
Showing the wall. You can
Yes,
see
they attacked it, and yes, they did damage. But it was, the cannonball got lodged into the wall that it was supposed to attack.
Well, but here's the thing: the coquina shells. If they're hitting a building that's made of the coquina shells,
yep,
that was strong material. It was hard to. It was pretty much almost. I won't say it wasn't penetrable, but almost impenetrable.
Yeah, it was almost. It was very, very hard to. But nowadays, we'll go back to that sooner or later. There, I still have more photos of that. San Juan, Puerto Rico does have a lot of artists that are around the city, and a lot of them made a bunch of statues for San Juan. Now, this one is of an angel on top of a waterfall. There's some dolphins, the kid, and then also, if you're wondering, yes, the statues are able to show some nudity at times. Most of them do not have clothes on, by the way.
Yeah, in the middle of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, just in the middle of Puerto Rico. They made a kids play area right underneath the big wall. That is just, I thought it was a nice perception photo, kind of showing how big it is. It's huge. It's like 4 to 5 stories tall, just the wall itself. And then they built on top of that. Another photo. Yep. You can see that the woman, yes, is wearing a dress. The man is not, is wearing anything. So that is what happens with the shell, though, after a while. The coquina shell. You do notice that that's a tree on the side of a big, huge wall, right? The tree ate out at the coquina shell.
Yeah.
And now it is not making the wall go down. It probably made it more fortified in general, but it makes a fantastic photo. You can see the roots of the tree on the outside of the wall, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is actually the crazy thing of it.
What the heck? Yeah. Yep, I agree with Jonathan, and you have to also remember, in Jonathan, there has been some rulers in England.
Hello, Jason.
Or in Italy. Yes, there has been some rulers in Italy that have knocked off the cojones of most of the men because it was too illicit during the years. The older ones, yes. Okay, next one would be almost every morning you'll get to see something like this. So I like to almost every morning around 6 o'clock to 6:15, I would go up on the top of our ship and take some photos, because that's when a lot of the ports came into view. Whatever one you're going to go see, that is a different view of that is the same fort, but it's from the ship. And I can kind of do something like this also. It was windy, but you get the fact. It just shows you how big San Juan really is, Puerto Rico. That was a ship that we're going to go and support right beside. Now, I'm not going to try to show all the videos I have of all of mine either. And other way. I just like to take in the photo. Hello, Mike. Hello. And happy birthday to Mike, yes. Okay, so that was pretty fun for that port. You get to see a lot of, because I decided to organize as of per se itineraries that or ports. Every single port we went off. So I'm going to start to do this. And then each and every one of these, that is a video, but I can kind of show it probably, but whoa, I wasn't supposed to click that. Okay. Boo-doo-boo. And this is in the next port, obviously. So this would be, let me think. I can go back. I can look. This is St. Martin, which I've been to once before. Very fantastic. This is U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Martin. I got to see a bunch of beautiful sunrises in this city. That was very, very cool. That is the port that you go into for St. Martin, and I went to there. That is the same port that I went into last time when I was on a Disney cruise ship. This is one of the ports that we did an itinerary, a paid one this time around. We did, these are scuba helmets. They slip them on top of your head. I can show a photo right here. You can see him. He has it on his head, and there is a little thing over in the center area, and that supplies the air. So there's a little tiny, huge air tube and bouncing in the water that it always has air going into your helmet, and they supply 2 times the amount of air that you need to walk around at the bottom of the ocean. It was about 20 to 25 feet down below. They made a nice path, they made cement brick, big, huge cement blocks that they allowed you to walk on. They had a nice little handrail on it. Yeah, St. Martin. Yep. Thank you, Jill. The Netherlands and France. And now this is, if I remember correctly, I think the French side, because it's a little bit more aristocratic, a little bit more cleaner of the island. And then you'll be amazed to going just to the opposite side of the island. It is not as upkept as much. Yes, it is still Dutch and it's still there, but it's not upkept as much. Yep. Yeah, I loved both sides of the islands. They both have great beaches, by the way. There's no discrimination in that area. Everything is just so scenic in this place. Got to do I didn't beforehand. We did do an excursion. It was to a banana museum, which was where I tried some banana Ducati alcoholic drink. It was very fun. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for putting a lot of this information in there, Jill. You're really helping me out with some of it. Greatly appreciated. I took some photos of this wonderful place. It is not upkept as other islands, but it is it's called Dominica. Yes. It's not Dominican, it's Dominica. Yeah, for a lot of people that are wondering. That obviously is the back end of our ship, and that is Dominica itself. Beautiful city. You'll find people up there at this time of day because it just turned sun, like not even 15 minutes before this. So this for the sunrise. So this Dominica is not as upkept, but it does have some heritage. Not very many, not very many cruise ships go to Dominica itself. This was one of them that did, and we did go to it. I guess that is supposed to be a ritual, like a god that they really did, go after. But that is one of the little shopping areas they had right is on the side, and with the national hot springs and tropical rainforest. It was once part of the British Empire. Yes, this port has been taken over by British. It has been taken over by Dutch at one time, and then now it's on its own. It's its own country, if I remember correctly. Right now, there's nothing that ties it to anything. Um, this had a lot of fruit, vegetables. It was like the farmers market. It was really nice that they had this pretty close to the ship, I would say. So you could go off of the ship, get some fresh fruit, eat it, and then come back on the ship, which was really nice. Effect, you know, local farmers market. The prices was not hiked up high or nothing like that. This shows you a lot of what it looks like as the hill island, I guess they would call it. There's hot springs there. If you do go to Dominica, I would recommend doing a tour that would be on the lines of like waterfall, a path, walking to a waterfall or something like that would be wonderful for this island because there is hundreds of waterfalls just on the island itself. Very, very green island, by the way. There is a beach right next to our ship that you're able to walk on. Yeah, it's beautiful. There's more of a not necessarily third world, but it is not as upkept as a lot of the other ports that we went into to create its beauty. It is more beauty in this island is more towards nature, so they did not upkeep the streets a lot of times for this island. And then I can go back, Dominica, yay! And then I'm going to an island that I loved when I first got to see it, Barbados. Yeah, thank you for all this information. All these, by the way, for anyone that's wondering, all these photos, they are taken by me early in the morning or during the day when I'm walking around that island that we got to go to. I did that this morning. I'm in the middle of trying to create vlogs for my channel. So this says, yep, Barbados is beautiful. This is us coming in on Barbados, if I remember correctly. Yeah, video. I did it kind of quick, but you know what? It got to see the panoramic kind of that way, you know? And that is the birthplace of rum. Barbados. Barbados rum is very popular. I got to see a bunch of street performers when we were on this island, and the very cool. But the because everywhere was hot when we went there. I'm talking like 90 to 95 degrees hot. So this was a nice, relaxing island because this was an inside mall area. I don't know if they're going to show it, probably not, but there was an inside mall area that was air conditioned everywhere. And it was really, really nice to walk around just inside the mall and not have to worry about 95-degree weather on the outside, you know. That is a famous Barbados logo that is right beside the ships. I tried to get two different angles. It kind of got it. And so we walked around that city. That was a fun one. Barbados. And then we got to go to this fantastic island. Yes. I drink very little and it's selective here and there. I can drink. This is Bonaire. I'm probably misspelling that up here, by the way, on that one. I'm going to look that up. But this was a fantastic city that I got to go through. If you look very closely, yeah, that is a plane in the middle, just about to land on the airport. Yeah, yep. Yeah. It is the best place to buy the rum from Barbados is not Barbados, from Bonaire is here because it is the cheapest because they don't have to export it out. But you would if you bought some, you would have to not drink it on the ship unless you're in your room and keep it in your room because they do not want you walking around with that beer in hand. Not beer, but with the alcohol in hand, the rum and all that. Okay. I did take some videos. Those are this is Bonaire, so they have what this is called, which is Little Bonaire. This is their that corner was their it's an island, but that is their beach. They have little tiny boats that take you up to the beach and then they'll take you back. It's very secluded. There's no roads on the island of Little Bonaire. In case anyone is wondering, no, there's very little streets at all. They don't want you to even have cars on the island. So there's no city. It's a very, very small island, and usually it is always there. They've had instances where it has been covered by water, though. That is what the island looks like, kind of. This is its main city, which I don't remember what city we were in. I just knew the country. This is a nice little mall area that they had, Candy Cane Mall, something like that. Yeah, covering roughly with a width gauges from 3 to 7 miles and length of approximately 24 miles. Yeah. This was really cool though because it did have like a Sistine Chapel kind of look of art print that some artists from Bonaire or from this country did do, which was really cool. It has very, very beautiful artwork right above our head when we were looking at it. It interested me enough for me to take pictures of it. Yes, we were 50 miles off the coast of Venezuela. Yeah. Okay, I can go for 2 more of these fantastic ports that we got to go to. And you'll laugh at this one. This is Aruba. They had one of those things where you put your face in there. Well, it made it look like I was a salsa dancer. So I put my face in there. I took a picture. Said someone else take the picture for me. I think it was my dad. But this is Aruba from the One Happy Island. I did get a shirt from there and a hat. I did that with a lot of the islands. I'm talking like all but one, I think. So I have like a whole new wardrobe of vacation shirts, not just for Disney either. Aruba was wonderful. They had these, I guess there's about 20 of these little guys around Aruba itself, different cities, but they are the horses that are painted blue. And it is one local artist from Aruba that does them, and then they set it in a nondescript area that they don't really choose beforehand. They just set it around somewhere. They probably do choose it, but they probably have regulation. I believe it is there on purpose as a blue horse because Aruba is famous for the horses. Aruba is very known for their, what was that called? Cake top houses, I guess they call them. Very, very fancy, ornate houses that look very ornate on the top. Very beautiful houses. This is what they're talking about. This are the, how they look. They're very famous for that. They do have a lot of murals throughout the city. We got to do a hop on, hop off bus that was free, basically. I believe free. No, this one was one we paid for. It's only like $20, so it was pretty cheap. But they had art, like murals, on this almost a lot of the house buildings. This was one of them. I took a little bit of more of a zoom in on part of it. That is another one that we were on this hop on hop off, and we were on second floor, so we get to look over everything. Yeah, Netherlands for this Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Yes, they're Netherlands. They are Dutch islands, the Dutch islands of the ABCs. Yes. There's another picture of those iconic buildings. Okay. I'm zooming past a lot of these. Curacao. I did take a lot of photos or video in Curacao itself. This is one of the cities that we went off and we walked around. Curacao, yes. I keep mispronouncing it, but I believe I have it corrected as the very beautiful city. All the cities were beautiful. There was none that were not beautiful. You know, they're island cities. So, and this one will work. Yeah, I did it. This is from the other side of the ship, from the other one. So that is our dock that you're looking at that they tie off on. And the sunrise. It's early 6 o'clock in the morning, Eastern, roughly. More of those famous different kinds of buildings that, tiered. Yeah. This had a wonderful little dock that is not dock, but a bridge that is famous. And why is this famous? It's because it is a floating bridge. They open it and close it for any of the ships that are going into the port, but it all goes all the way across, and that one of the boats has an engine that basically makes it turn like a pivot, and then once the boat is fully inside the bay, it goes back, and it is only for walking. That is the bridge itself. It is very famous in Curacao, really. Oop-a-doop, wrong button. Of course, I had to sit inside of a big boot, clog. No comment on that one. I don't know what a lot of these say, but there was a seat in the middle of it, and I decided to sit inside of it. That is a famous fish market. Oh, that's very cool, because I know some of the ships do go inside that port that they allow in, and then it closes back up. When that happens, they do have a free shuttle boat that goes between one and the other side for anyone that is wondering. It is free and it only runs when the dock is open. So, yeah. That is a famous fish market that is in Curacao. That is a mural that was on one of the side of the buildings. Beautiful, beautiful artwork, I would say. They had a lot of yeah, they had a lot of like buildings that they are either that they got up and refurbished, that which is over 80% of the island, and or they have not refurbished yet. This was because early in its time they had some Jewish, if I remember correctly, immigrants at one time that liked very, very skinny but very, very long. I'm talking like 15, about 10 rooms in each house building. and it's very long, but it's very. It looks like a regular house up in front, um, and is very famous for those houses around Curacao. They had a history behind it, and they were talking about the history on this tour. So that was a neat something that I got to look at. Yes. Orange liqueur. Yeah, it's another alcohol city. Yeah. That is the showing that not all of them. They said over only 30% of their buildings are refurbished on the island. So that counts not just the city, that's the whole island. Like I said, this is the one that they refurbished, got to make look really nice and habitable, and that is what it looked like, or another one looked like a couple streets down. It is the same thing, really skinny, really long, kind of house, and so it is pretty cheap to buy a house on Curacao also, but you have to be Dutch to buy a house on Curacao unless I believe it's like the US, you have to be living in Dutch for 10 years, something like that, before you can buy. They had a bunch of different kind of newer houses. They don't do that much on these islands. They would rather you buy a older house that has been there and has historic value than to buy or than to get a new house. That they will not tear down houses that much here. It's all renovation all the time, which is kind of cool. I kind of agree with it. I would recommend that. I would prefer to see that more in the U.S. By the way, why tear down something that you already have the structural value of being historic? This is one of the Jewish. They did have churches that were Jewish Christian based, so it's a Christian church that is in the Netherlands, Curacao, or very close to it. This was beautiful. They made this immaculate. This was one of 3 churches on this city that we went into that was for the Jewish / Christian base. It's still used to this day, by the way. A lot of those houses just got passed down generation to generation. A lot of them, not all of them, especially the ones that look desolate, like I showed you. But a lot of them are still getting upkept and still being lived in by the descendants. But they had a lot of like ornate glass in this very pristine chapel kind of look, And then this was cool. Look, let me see it. There it is. And tell the people where you all have been. This building here is our government, parliament. There. You can see that she was talking in the background, but I wanted to show you the Curacao little thing that they had for tourists to take pictures by. It was pretty cool. They do have. Yep, is the oldest and uses them use in the background. Yep, yeah. She found information on it. It's very beautiful. I didn't remember the name of it, and we got to walk around a little bit inside of it. I just showing you the alleyway in this one, which is pretty cool. This is really cool. They do have, like I said, some of them do have like murals on it. And here we go. His name was Captain Blyde. You guys know Captain Blyde? Yeah. He came here in 1804 and tried to tumble this down. So when you walk in there, you see a church in there from Protestant with one black spot on the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, that is one of his cannon that he sent over here. They're talking about another instance where another city got hit by a big attacker. His name was Captain Blyde. Captain Blyde. So it was a pirate that tried to attack the city, and this was a fort that did not go down. yes, it got took over. Got took over by the pirates once, and I believe it was like they were talking about 1809 was when Captain Bligh attacked. I believe 1820s when it got took over, but then they only lasted for like a few hours, and then they left. They could not keep it, so they tried to save face and run, which was kind of funny, I thought. Then I have Curacao. That is most of the islands that I got to go to, but I do have 2 more areas that I can show you. Right before we went on to our cruise, we got to go to the one and only New York, USA. Hello. Welcome back. You're still here, right?
Who?
You.
Yeah, I've been here in and out.
Yappity
Hey,
yappity.
go for it.
Yeah, New York City. We got to do one of the big bus tours that went around in the city. It is my mom and dad's first time to New York. My mom liked it enough because she did notice it was busy, but she got to see it from above. You know how I'm talking about? You don't have to mess with how busy it is. And then we basically stayed in our room for most of the time. We did have a park that we went into earlier. But you know what? New York still has some really, really cool structural value, I would say, that I got to miss seeing almost every day for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That is Lady Liberty herself. Yes, I took a photo of her. No, I took a video of her. Okay.
I got a photo.
That's Lady Liberty, and that's how close she is to New York itself.
Hey, I got a photo of Lady
That island
Liberty.
in front of us, in case anyone is wondering, that is Governor's Island.
Nice.
Yeah. I wish we got to meet up, Mike. And I do have some things that I do want to get to you. They might come a little bit late, but they will still get to you. Don't worry. Yeah. Oh, and the M&M store. That is very beautiful there. Downtown. Oh, we went underneath one of the bigger bridges, and I decided to take a photo of it above my head. And then I have one more thing, and I know that not him, but Dave will get excited on me showing a little bit of this, which is one of the days after our cruise. We stayed afterwards. We stayed for a week in Daytona Beach. Got to go on the beach a lot. We walked almost every day on the beach those days, and this was one of the days we did not, which was the Kennedy Space Center, or the NASA center.
I haven't done that in years.
Yes, it was. I got so lucky. We didn't even know when we went on this day that there was a SpaceX launch that night for Cape Canaveral. It was right there, and so we were lucky enough that we got to see it lift off. If anyone wants to see some of that video, and I did do a pretty good one, it is already out and it is on my Instagram. I was trying to push out a little bit more of my Instagram at that time, and so it's on my Instagram. But this is different video of photos and a little bit of videos that I got to take during the day. We were there at a grand spanking opening of 10 o'clock. That is when they opened that day. 1 January, and it was so cold I had to buy a second sweatshirt to add to my clothing. Yeah, I could see that. I liked that they had like a bunch of photo opportunities that you could go in and try to sit in different. Yes. I got to do a lot, but not all of the video / movies that they had throughout the park. the center. But we did get to walk around in all the parts of the center. So that is where that is right behind the rocket launch experience, I guess they call it. They get launched into space and you get to feel zero gravity in that ride. And right in front of it, you can see how big that is. That is the entrance to it. It was really pretty beautiful. It was really
And
big.
for anybody that don't know what that is, that was the part of the main shuttles that they used to launch the space shuttles. That was the
Yes.
solid rocket boosters. Yeah, the solid rocket boosters and the main gas thing.
Yep. Yep.
That's pretty cool. Now, was
Yeah,
that like an interest? I mean,
now it's kind of
I'm assuming
decommissioned. Now you use it as a art piece for you people to walk underneath and get into the ride with. So
I mean, I figure it's a replica. I didn't think it would be actually the actual.
yep,
It might be, but
it could be. It could be replica because they might have to have more structural value than what they do before.
But either way, it's still interesting.
It's still very cool, impressive. Yes, and this is right behind that building. Is this? So if anyone is wondering, and you try to look it up, if you're going to try to go to Kennedy Space Center, try to find out if they're going to have a launch that day. If they do, you have a very, very high chance to watch it from where this is. This is like in a grass field, and you see a lot of people later on just laying on the grass field looking up into the sky waiting for the rocket to launch. It did get delayed quite a bit. It was supposed to happen at 4:30 and it happened around 5:28 if I remember correctly. So it was butting almost right up against when the Kennedy Space Center was supposed to close at 6. No, 5:30. It was 5:30 that it was supposed to close. Well, they if you were watching this the launch, they were going to allow you to stay in the stands and or the field until the end of the launch. So we stayed a little after its open hours, really.
Yeah,
Very cool, obviously. I cannot talk enough about it, but my dad, this was one of his like things he wanted to do that was on his like dream list, and he never got to do it until just a few weeks ago, basically, is when this happened. So November 17th tells you the date right there. Yep. They have a rocket garden is what they call it, but all of these rockets were used at one time or another. Now not all of them are the US rockets. They do have some rockets that are from Russia and from China. So
that looks like the Gemini those are the Gemini and what the heck was the other ones that they used back in the 60s?
Yep.
Gemini. I can't remember what the other one. I know Gemini was one of them that launched the single.
Yeah. Another cool thing you can try to do, which got to do.
Thank you,
the company that started the freeze-dried scenario that the U.S. loves.
You had to show me that, didn't you?
We ate
I haven't had frozen ice cream in a long time.
Freeze-dried ice cream sandwich. It was Napoleon, so it had the chocolate, it had vanilla, and it had strawberry.
And it's good.
It is good. It has an acquired taste. If you haven't had that at all, just so you know, it almost has, to me, almost a chalky taste because it is freeze-dried.
But it is good.
It's very good. It's very good. This is what started the craze for the freeze-dried Skittles that are hitting the nation.
You got to remember this. When they were trying to figure out how to feed the astronauts,
it tasted fantastic.
The shuttles were coming out. This is what they developed with the frozen food.
Yep. freeze-dried ice cream sandwich. It was space food. That is what they use up in space. It was Napoleon. They loved it. I loved it. My sister and dad liked it too. We all three got to try it, and it was not small. It was halfway decent sized. You know, they don't really shrink when they go into that packaging from what they were started from. So,
Right.
yeah, that's one of the items that don't shrink that much.
Pretty much.
They
But those-
had
the
almost
problem is, and here's the thing, they got more
they
than
had
just,
over 50 items that were freeze dried.
I was gonna
They
say,
had everything from freeze dried whole bananas,
yeah.
freeze dried
Oh,
pears,
did you try that
prunes,
one, Mike?
apricots.
Did you try the freeze dried bananas?
We did not get to try them, but I wish we did.
Oh, those are
But you
actually
know what?
pretty good.
We got to try this guy. We tried one of the items that was freeze dried, and we chose the Napoleon ice cream sandwich.
I'm going to tell Jill something. This is something funny. Do you realize the only candy they don't have to freeze is M&Ms, and
Yep.
yet they can still send the M&Ms to space?
They can.
And it's the only thing. Everything else has to be dry freeze. M&Ms don't.
Yep. That's mostly true. Another thing that I got to learn and I did not know this from the Kennedy Space Center, what they talked about information on what NASA created that people use day to day, every day now. This was one of the things they created was the freeze-dried technique that they use for all of the freeze-dried items now in the U.S. You can find it in regular candy stores now everywhere. I'm talking everywhere.
It's getting harder to find that dried freeze stuff.
Freeze-dried. Yeah.
But it is good when you can find it.
Yeah. I seen a resurgence of it as of like last year in my hometown, which is Ocean Shores.
Oh, really?
The candy shop has a whole freeze-dried section, which has those freeze-dried Skittles, and a bunch of other different kinds of candy and different items. They had freeze-dried, what is that called?
Thank you, Joe.
Taffy.
I told you. Joe just.
Yeah, they're already considered shelf-stable.
Yep.
There's only one other item that has went up in space without being freeze-dried, and do you know what that is, Dave?
The M&Ms didn't have to be frozen.
Yeah, Dave, do you know what else can go up into space?
That is something else, but I can't remember what it was. It's been a long time since.
Twinkies. It is this.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Twinkies is the only one because
of all things.
And I think
they can go into space and you can eat a Twinkie.
It actually has something to do because of the filling.
Yes, chemicals in it. But still, woo! That was the. Let me see if I can have a different photo of it. I have some photos of it, but those are engines on the back of a space shuttle. It wasn't the Kennedy Space Center. Yeah, it's that other building you had to take the bus to.
Space vehicles.
Yes. It was a different building that you had to take a bus to from the Kennedy Space Center. It was still part of the Kennedy Space Center.
Hey, Richard, when you went through there, because when I went, the last time I went through there, they were still working on the new space station. And you could actually take a tour of what the space station was going to look like.
Oh.
And, do they still have that, or did they actually take that down now?
They might have took that down by now. I think the building that uses that is now the SpaceX, or the SpaceX building is what that used to be in, I think.
Okay, and it could be because it at one time they had a replica. And you got to remember this. When the last time I really went was before the International Space Station was built.
Yes,
it was still being built.
Yeah.
So they had a replica that you could walk through that actually showed what the International Space Station was going to look at. So this would have been early 2000s.
Yeah. So what I got to see when I went up, I just remembered the SpaceX 9. It has been in space 5 times, officially 6. This was the 6th time I got to that it went up that I got to see. They land back on ground, and they use the same ship to go right back up. It is pretty cool. But that was for, if I remember correctly, it was the Indonesia needed their
Well, we don't want
it,
the cockroaches to survive. Twinkies,
yeah,
yes.
the
Leave it to Jill to find something crazy.
yep, yeah, yeah. I hear that all the time for the Twinkies. Also, they don't ever age in their packets ever.
Nope, they don't.
The shelf life of a Twinkie, the earlier ones did have an expiration date. You didn't have to use the expiration date, but it did have one. They had it for the expiration date for the original Twinkie was 3 years after they made it. Basically, it could last longer than that, way longer. That's pretty bad though. Okay,
Yeah.
boom. This is a catwalk that they had set up in one of the buildings. You got to walk on the catwalk, going from one experience to another, and this was a walkway that went into it.
And what you're
That-
actually walking is on a gangway that actually would have let them walk across into the space shuttle when they were
Yes.
boarding.
Yep. So that's pretty cool that they repurposed a lot of older items that kind of have historic value to a lot of people, probably. That is the same ship that showed the back end, the back of it. So it separated in one part. This might tell you what it is. Apollo 9, Peter McDivitt, something Scott, and Sketchy Cat. Apollo 9. I don't remember where that went to, but it shows it kind of the little art thing above it.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
I need to go back.
There it is again. See, that shows a better picture of it. I just like the perception of it. Look how big that is. That is in that big building you're probably talking about, Dave. Partly.
I don't know. It might be
4 stories tall.
I just know you ended up going to 3. You went to 3 or 4 buildings. You went to one of the lookouts that actually where you could watch the launch of the space shuttles and the Gemini and Apollo rockets on the land things.
And then I took a panoramic view or photo of on the sides. You can see it. This was their shopping or their shop store. I got some things from NASA itself. I got a pin I can show.
Yeah. They got a few good things.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're going to get a pin from this Kennedy Space Center, you either has to say Kennedy Space Center or it has to show something like this.
Yes.
The classic.
I had a pin. I got a pin like that somewhere.
Yeah. The classic. I like the background of this one.
Yeah.
Also, I did not find very many, but Curacao did have a nice, wonderful. Ooh, I'm upside down. Pin. And it showed the buildings on the pin. Dutch Caribbean Curacao.
Nice.
Curacao. Very beautiful.
Oh, very beautiful.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. What he's saying. Thank you, Jill, for a lot of that information that you were plugging in throughout the whole thing.
And
that was all of my photos and videos.
And listen more than have to yap. But now here's the thing, guys. This is what a lot of these shows are going to be. When I have guests like Richard, they know what they're. I'm just going to sit back. I don't have to ask. I mean, I'll
Let
make
me
a
run
comment
with it,
here and
you
there,
know.
but other than that, it's usually sit back and relax. But now I got to do two things.
Yeah.
One, remember 9 o'clock tonight is me. This is my baby coming up now at 9 p.m. And that will be on the conclusion of the MSC2 part of the seascape. We'll see the rest of the pictures. You'll actually get to see the full photos of the food, which they're pretty good shots of the food, individual, which I know you guys have seen. Some of you guys might have seen them before, but you'll get to actually see the food a little bit up closer because I tried to blow them up a little bit. So that's at 9 o'clock. But then here's this. And this is what brings us all here for these.
Whether it's luxury or fun in the sun, Dave's got the tips to make your cruise #1. Tune in, sit back, let's plan your stay on Cantrell Country's travelway. It's Cantrell Country's travelway, setting sail on adventure every day. From island south to ocean blue, we got your cruising covered through and through. Pack your bags and set your sights. We're cruising seas and booking flights from the ports to the waves where dreams come alive. Dave Cantrell is here to guide your ride. It's Cantrell Country's travelway, setting sail on adventure every day. From island south to ocean blue, we've got your cruising covered through and through.
Yeah, so if you're looking to book a cruise,
Whether it's luxury,
anything,
You better not be playing that again.
hey, that music was so good you can't help but wanting to play it again.
Yeah,
He did
exactly.
such a good job on that one.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm not going to worry about putting the links in here now. We will make sure we put the links in tonight's show. But again, thank you for sharing your stuff, Richard. It was
No problem. You see a lot more of this stuff again on my channel once I do make the vlogs for it, once I have time to.
Yes. And so make sure you go check him out on the Bloomin' Cheeza channel.
Yes.
He was definitely my partner channel for whatever the future name is on my other channel.
Yeah.
Which again, guys, spread the word. If you know anybody that has not voted and still wants to vote, they still have 2 more days. By mid-afternoon on Friday, I will be pulling that poll. And then I'll make the announcement on Saturday to what the new name will be.
My favorite cruise port. Oh boy. That's a hard one. Castaway Cay. I will go with the private island of for Disney. The original one I personally like better than Lighthouse Point. It has a lot more green walking paths that you can walk around, and it's very beautiful. They grow their own mangoes and avocados on the island themselves for Disney Cruise Line. So, yeah, I would probably say my favorite cruise port, that would have to be Castaway Cay. Yeah. Favorite food I had on this trip there was a lot of really good food. Selective days, other days not so much good food. I would not go on to Princess again if they had me pay. It was a little disheartening on part of it. They had it so when we did our videos, we were supposed to be platinum when we got onto the ship, and they did not count it as platinum until the 12th day of 14.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
We had a lot of problem with that.
Well, and hopefully I will say this. Hopefully, that was just due to this ship, not
Maybe
any other thing. Because
I
I've
would
heard,
consider maybe a
I've
different.
got all I'm going to say is I've got mixed reviews on
Yeah.
Princess.
Yeah.
I have heard a lot of people love the cruise ships, but then I've heard a couple, like Richard, there's,
Yeah.
there
Up in the air.
Well, and here's the thing, you hear some things about Disney as well. So
Of
it don't
course.
matter what cruise line it is, you're going to
It's
get
just
the
one
good
thing or
with
another. This ship for this cruise that I've seen, there was maybe 3 kids on the whole cruise. The rest of it was middle-aged, and then most of it, over 80%, was people over 70.
And that might be,
Yeah.
that's,
Grandpa and grandma going onto a cruise ship. That's
you
what
got
it
to
was.
remember, their current lines are this. Their biggest ones are baby boomers.
Yep.
Their second, the ones that are really starting to catch up is Generation X.
Yep. And that's Generation X is 70.
My generation. My generation with that right now that's currently working or
Yep.
just now starting to retire are
Yep.
now starting to do a lot more cruises. So that we're actually now starting to become the main target of
Yep.
the cruise lines because we're getting to that age. But then you also still got a lot. You still got the big thing where you got young families
Yep.
that are taking cruises as well. So
Yes, you will, but look, there is more young families on different cruise ships, in my opinion, than Princess itself. It's catered and made for older generation.
It depends on which cruise line.
Yeah, this one
I would agree with you.
catered.
I guarantee you, Disney, you're going to find the more younger families.
Younger families.
And maybe Carnival because it's
Yes.
more of the economical ones.
Yeah.
But even then, you'll still see some families on Royal Caribbean.
Yeah. It is not not on the ship.
You won't see as much family on MSC.
Yes.
You'll see a few, but not as many.
Right. That one has variety, I know. It's more higher class. It's people that were willing to dress up for dinners.
And it's not even, well, no, because the dinner things have been cut back.
I know
They're
still.
They're changing their things in their dinner. They're not making people dress up like they used to.
Yes.
Unless you're Celebrity, Cunard, Howland, those ones you can guarantee you're going to have tuxedos, suit and tie, functions.
Really, in the U.S., I looked around, and there is no company in the U.S. that requires you to dress up for dinner shows. They recommend.
They used to.
But they pushed that back because of COVID.
When I went on the Carnival Elation, we did have one night where you're supposed to dress up to the thing, but my parents were sick. So I just used the buffet and ate my 24/7 pizza.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. They don't require. Most of them don't require it anymore for the dressing up. Right. They just ask you for people that want to. They can. The Princess had 2 nights on it that were you're supposed to wear ball gowns and tuxedos. About 10% of the people did it. For those people, there was some that like to dress up.
She does do the theme dressed up for DCL.
Yes. I love to dress up for the Disney because it is not fancy dress up.
We know Richard loves dressing up.
You get to dress up as a character you love, usually. If it's for Disney. They have Disney nights or pirate night instead of dress up in a fancy suit night. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Pair of jerseys and shorts. I would like to see Mike Disney bound time or another, and that would be one way you could. Disney Cruise Line.
There you go.
There you go.
Yep.
Welcome back. Thank you for being through here.
Yeah, thank you all for coming in tonight, guys.
Yeah.
It actually is. Well, thank you for interesting. I mean, you showed
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff, and I love the things, and it was.
I would have to say, I'll answer Mike's question a little bit up there. It asked if favorite food he had on the ship. I'll finally say it. It was desserts for the Disney princess. If you only count the princess, it was the desserts. They had really, really good, like, they had a pistachio thing. They had pistachio on the inside.
Be right back.
And a cupcake, and it had fluff on the top. It was so good. I would say the desserts were out of this world. Yeah, he's talking, but he didn't know his video's on. Hopefully everyone does have a great evening. This was fun to listen and talk about. There was some food that I did like. If you've seen my video earlier, most of it was from the buffet that they had. We did that almost every night. So.
Sorry, guys. That was part of the family I had to take care of.
No Churro Mickey waffles. There was some in the breakfast time. They did have waffles. It was just regular shaped, and some of them were flavored, but nothing was really special in my opinion on those. Just regular waffles.
Okay.
Had no pixie dust with them.
Guys, I need to go finish putting groceries away before the next show.
Yeah,
Because
I'm gonna head out.
Fill this one up to get it together. So,
hour and 20 minutes long. We did pretty good long stream, I would say.
We did. And I'm looking for that tonight too, probably because
yes,
I've got quite a few. I got a decent amount of slides to go through, and as I'm doing the
so
other
your next your one for tonight is about 2.5 hours away. Is all. So.
Yep, 9 o'clock, guys. Yep, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Actually, an hour and a half. I set it for 9.
Oh, okay. 9.
So, yep, and if don't forget to come back and enjoy it. And well, I know Mike probably won't, but if you're able to come on, Richard, you're always welcome. I can send you the link if you want to join me on screen.
I could try to. We'll see on tonight. I might be busy. I don't know. I think I'll be family.
You can. If you do, just give me a heads up, and I'll make sure I get the link to you.
Yep, and thank you for putting in a link, Jonathan.
Yes, thank you for putting this link in. So with that, guys, have a great night. We'll see you in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I've already got my slides up and ready, so we're good.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, all.